Paranormal King Radio Network, bringing you the best paranormal hosts and guests. Bringing you the best paranormal shows and features. Playing the top musical artists from around the world. Paranormal King Radio Network. With the best paranormal hosts and guests. The best in paranormal shows and features. Playing the best musical artists from around the world. Paranormal King Radio Network. The paranormal will never be the same.
There are things in this world of the paranormal that we do not understand, but we try to explain it through methods of science, magic, religion, and historical accounts. What we present to you now is Haunted Salem's Beyond the Grave, where the dead educate the living.
Welcome to Beyond the Grave Radio with Haunted Salem, where the dead educate the living, here on the Paranormal King Radio Network. I'm your host, Christina Corsetti, and tonight we're discussing demons, devils, and evil spirits. This was a tough subject, actually, because when you talk about demons and devils, you get into a lot of Bible scripture, and I didn't want to include a lot of that. So therefore, the show will only run about 45 minutes to an hour tonight, if we're lucky. Next week, though, being Halloween weekend, I'll be doing it all about Salem and its haunted locations. Actually, it was my first show that I ever did, and I had Chris Dowgan on as a guest talking about the Salem underground tunnels. But because, being my first show and all the technical difficulties I had, I decided to redo the show the right way this time. So I thought that would be fun, especially for Halloween. So that'll be really good next week. So where do we start? Well, throughout religion, folklore, mythology, and occultism, a demon is a supernatural being described as something not quite human. In ancient Near Eastern religions and Christian demonology, a demon is believed to be an unclean spirit, which may cause demonic possession. Therefore, an act of exorcism would be necessary to draw the spirit out. In Western occultism, a demon is a supernatural being with the ability to be conjured and controlled. In literature, many demons were once fallen angels, while others were said to be forged in hell itself. Some believe a demon refers to superhuman beings who are not gods. It deals both with good beings who have no worshippers or limited to a rank below the gods, and with evil beings of all kinds. The original sense of demon from the time of Homer onward was that of a good being, but in English, the name now holds the distaste of evil beings. Demonic influence is the state of being possessed by an entity created by the human mind. It is to be possessed by thinking that creates suffering for ourselves and others. Most people suffer in varying degrees from their mind. It may be a little or a lot, and some may cause others to suffer with them too. While demons can also reference human, disembodied spirits, which are earthbound spirits or ghosts, who have not progressed beyond death of the physical body until love, joy, and peace. These people can also be viewed as the unclean spirits of which Jesus spoke of within the Bible. Ghosts are symbolically unclean because they have not yet entered the light and life review. which is a transforming transition from mental suffering to external awareness of being that normally occurs when one exists the earth plane of existence, physically, dying. The light can dissolve the mind's hold on the spirit, freeing him or her of mental and emotional suffering. Ghosts may be considered unclean ultimately because they have not been freed from their false selves. They remain in darkness, blind to their condition. Spirits that come from the light are holy, as in Holy Spirit or pure spirit. Pure spirits simply refer to those who come from the place of light and not darkness, unlike the unclean spirits. In truth, everyone has the light of purity within them, and it is their deepest being. The question is whether or not we are aware of it. We might say that those who are aware of conscious of their inner being, and those who are not aware are unconscious, unaware of anything beyond the grasp of their thinking mind. Unconscious darkness is a condition of unclean spirit or ghosts. Darkness symbolically represents a lack of understanding, the state of being lost, unawareness of who we are. Light is love, joy, peace, and truth. It is a river of life that runs through us when we are turned into it. Well, demonology is the study of demons or beliefs about demons. Demons, when regarded as spirits, may belong to either of the classes of spirits recognized as humans, non-human, separable souls, discarnate spirits, which have never inhabited a body. Demonology, though often referred to with negative feeling, was not always seen as evil or devilish, as the term would have once believed. The word demonology is derived from daemon, meaning divinity, divine power, God. Some believe that all affairs of life are under the control of spirits, each with their own element or even object, and even themselves and subject to greater spirit. Often souls dwelling in another world are not counted in the demon list. Gods are often not necessarily seen as being entirely spiritual and may come in fleshy bodies. Demons are often seen the same as both spiritual and corporal. Vampires are often seen as another form of said demons, along with the incubi and the succubi, the incubus and the succubus, have been noted to produce offspring, though often deformed. Belief in demons, demonology, goes back many millennia and may be as old as man and often older. The Zoroastrian faith teaches that there are 3,333 demons that live among us and are responsible for such things as war, starvation, sickness, and so forth. Well, haunted people do exist, but just because odd behavior from an individual is witnessed or a nasty supernatural attack is truly experienced does not mean that a non-human entity is at work behind it. Even if a hateful spirit is behind the paranormal activity, the use of superstitious or religious rites may only temporarily halt the negative behavior. This is because haunting, and for purpose of what we're talking about, spirit possession is often misunderstood, mislabeled, and misdiagnosed. When frightening paranormal activity occurs, especially if it results in change of normal human behavior, people tend to jump to conclusions fearing the worst. They believe that spirit possession is demonic in nature, meaning a non-human entity is residing within the person exhibiting odd behavior. Shadow ghosts are earthbound people who have not progressed beyond this earth. Having chosen to remain behind with humanity, ghosts are held captive here by their mind. If a ghost does not undergo a cleansing review of their life and reunite with loved ones who await in spirit, which is the light, then he or she will continue to carry around emotional baggage earned from the time spent on earth while in the body. The darkness these ghosts have as a static appearance does not necessarily mean the spirit is a rotten egg with ill intentions. Darkness is indicative of a lack of understanding, ignorance, being lost, and of course negativity. A frightening coincidence does not make disembodied people menacing inhuman beings who work for the devil. We can find many a scary-looking person in our world who are truly nice, good-hearted souls. In other words, appearances can be deceiving. Don't judge a book by its cover. Some dark spirits can be very negative and troublesome, however, but so can people who live in our world and have bodies. One need only read the local news for a recount of daily troubles. From the accounts we have uncovered, we tend to think that some ghosts have learned that they can co-inhibit another person's body, or at least influence their behavior in some fashion. This is commonly referred to as spirit possession, but would be better termed as ghost possession. If it makes you feel any better, some investigators of the paranormal call this phenomenon attachment or negative energy. No matter what one might label this freakish thing, it is not possession by one of Satan's minions, as some might have you to believe. Everything appears to be ever connected. We might consider haunting as invisible influences or disruptions in our lives from unseen people who are with us. When you attended school as a child, you were likely immersed into an environment with lots of classmates and some teachers. Each one of these people had the ability to impact your life, your perspective in some way. Every day brought different experiences and lessons. The idea of spirit influence is our personal lives is similar, except we just can't see our spirit teachers or fellow students. So, why or how does ghost possession happen? Ghosts are said to possess people for many reasons. Attachment or possession can occur by accident, to assist the one whom they have possessed, to continue experiencing physical life, to experience former physical addictions, due to strong attachment to earthly possessions or loved ones, from trauma, not understanding that they have died, because they are in fact still alive, to menace or harm another person for revenge or just for the fun of it. Could demons be our negative thoughts? We tend to think that such an allegory makes sense, especially when considering the holes found in most religious demonology dogma. When one investigates the origin of the word demon, it becomes clear how traditional Christian church teachings about demons were created by men for control over people. It roots being founded in fear. So let's dig deeper than that, into what demons might actually represent and how that might impact us. People possess power. We have the power to create with our own mind. That means we also have the power to miscreate. Though our own misthinking or misunderstanding, we often miscreate, energizing, animating, giving life to thoughts of error, turning them into something that can appear to us as real as the nose on our face. Our inner fears are the root of this is left unchecked. Fear is darkness, and even though we may be able to create something false, behind that darkness within there is no substance. There's not even an opposite to truth, just the appearance that the false can be true. In inner darkness, our own thinking is unknowingly given temporary existence and residence by us. And when it manifests, it does so as an outward projection, revealing the inner condition, our false beliefs. Remember, whatever is true is real and exists. Whatever is false can never be real or does not exist. Our thoughts often carry us away to where fear can be found, but does that make it real? Are our thoughts real? So when we see or experience darkness, we need to remember not to believe it as real, but attempt to allay any fears. The situation rational. Fearful situations are temporary, depending upon one's perspective, and will disappear when the light of truth exposes the illusion, revealing a grander picture. The fearing mind is powerful and will take liberties to embellish a situation if given the chance. And this is what hell is, the power of the mind turned upon itself. If one believes he or she is being attacked by 1,000 flying monkeys, then the mind, through fear, has the power to create that experience as something very real. These experiences are projected outwardly so others who are prone to fear will see them too, all in a collective experience. However, if one who understands the truth ventures upon another person's fearful experience, that person who is free from the illusion will be capable of seeing through the darkness. He or she will be able to help undo the false beliefs in others by being the light that shines into their thinking. The person who sees can show those who don't that their fears are not found in the present moment. Fears are rooted elsewhere. Evil spirits are masters of deception and manipulation. The most dangerous one mix lies with truth, and you get all confused, but you think that you know the truth and that nothing is wrong. In everyday life situations, they would convince you that nothing is wrong with you, or whatever you're doing, and it's good for you. Yet it feels good, and if you don't do it, you feel like you are missing out on something. Well, evil spirits seek to control others. These are ghosts of people who are often negative in their physical life. People are all different. We both negative and positive people in and out of fleshy bodies. A negative spirit person is controlling, just like most negative people with human bodies. Think about manipulative people who are selfish. Often they are type A personalities, meaning that they can be impatient, competitive, aggressive, controlling, incapable of relaxing, and often hostile. Well, evil spirits seek to control and manipulate people. It does not matter whether the person they wish to control has a body or not. Ghosts, such as these, often know who they are and are adept at messing with people's minds. Their influence can be as simple as using negative thoughts to bring people to think incorrectly, but themselves or others. Other times, they might try controlling the thoughts of others to a greater extreme. This is known as attachment or ghost possession. During cases of ghost possession, it is not uncommon for the possessed to have more than one earthbound spirit attached to them. Guess who controls not only the possessed, but the other ghosts? Our type A negative spirit. He is in charge of that possessed person's mind and the other ghosts who may have brought along with them. Like sheep, afraid of their shepherd, the other ghost will not try and move on as long as he keeps them there. Often, after the controlling spirit is removed, the other negative spirit leaves quite easily, sometimes on their own. So evil spirits are capable of controlling all people, no matter what manner they are. Many spirits that choose to be evil do so to have a good time, having often been former victims of human abuse. Their behavior is sort of a retaliation upon the human race in general, a way to punish others for the injustices that the lost spirit has suffered. Evil spirits do indeed understand they are spirits of humans, what many call ghosts. Knowing who and where they are, they practice to improve their skills of manipulating others in the physical environment. Many people want to call such knowledgeable spirits demons, but this was just the cause of the ghost to be more determined to use a person's own fear against them. It is better to call them out to the carpet by letting ghosts know you know what they're up to. Often when ghosts know the game is up, they lose some fight in them and become more willingly to listen to the person who desires to help them. Ghosts choose not to move on in their life's journey, ultimately due to fear. It may be fear of punishment, fear of ridicule, fear of having let a parent or sibling down, and so forth. Such spirits that choose to behave badly they believe that they are getting away with their crimes against humanity, but know deep down there will come a time when it must end. Well, this is where we're going to get a little tongue-tied tonight. Evil spirits are the demons who are part of a kingdom of Satan, and there are 7 of them. Now, the first one is Hades, which is the son of Heth, which is terror. The character of it is subliminal torments, phobias, terror, depression, and deceit. The next one is Girgashites. They're clay dwellers. They focus on earthliness, unbelief, and what cannot be seen. The next one is Amortes. He's a mountaineer, one who has a high position from speech, obsession with early fame and glory, a domineering. Next we have Canaanites. Lowland trafficker and merchandise, addictions, persuasions, exaggerated people pleasing. Then we have Persites, villager, which is belonging to the poor village, limited visions, laziness, low self-esteem. Then we have Hyades, which is village people, which is the rich village lifestyle. That's the vision limited to enjoying an unearthly inheritance. And the last one is Jebusites, threshing place, trodden down and separated, suppression of spiritual authority and fellow believers, legalism. Well, to take one into consideration here, Hades, being spirit of terror, are stealth operators that attack the emotions and are the spirits behind nightmares and non-rational phobias such as claustrophobia, agoraphobia, exaggerated fear of dogs, and fear of being in the dark. This is the first excuse me, yeah, this is the first evil spirit. As anyone who has suffered from a phobia can testify, terror produces a sense of deep emotional despair and torment and causes a desire not to live anymore. Well, Hades' spirit, therefore, are also behind suicides. A person who suffers from deep emotional despair usually falls into states of deep depression and sadness. If you ever look into a person's eyes and perceive a sense of deep sadness and despair, you're looking into the eyes of a person under a Hittite attack. Now, the second evil spirit was Girgashites. They tend to focus on things that are visible. Girgashites are very, analytical? Analytical people who base their life decisions on the pros and cons that their minds are able to perceive. Non-Girgashites believers are not easily distracted by what their mind can see, but instead focus on what God wants for their lives. Girgashite spirits are like pigs, violently running down a steep incline, on the way to drowning in the sea. Girgashites are not groaners. They have relinquished living for a higher vision, deciding in their hearts that they can be complete in their temporality. This turns them into greedy pigs that grunt all day, devouring everything in sight in order to prove themselves that temporary things can really make them complete. But since it is completely impossible for a human being to find completeness in temporary things, the Girgashite devouring becomes an ever-increasing hunger that will never be satisfied. We can infer, now the third evil spirit is Amorite. Spirit is a spirit of self-exaltation. Amorites are fame seekers, seekers of human glory and greatness. Practically all dictators in history are Amorites. People like Saddam Hussein, Fidel Castro, Adolf Hitler, and Joseph Stalin, who like to dominate and control others, who love to see pictures of themselves, plastered all over entire cities and countries, and who love to see their subjects revere and worship them, are men whose hearts are possessed by the Amorite spirit. The Amorite are people who like to dominate and rule over others. They tend to establish an imposing and seemingly immovable presence. Now, the fourth, we're not at the fourth yet. Well, the spirits of homosexuality and lesbianism, along with other sexual perversions, we are at the fourth. They're Canaanite spirits. These spirits operate through people's emotions and make it concerted enough to shut off the person's mind, since the mind is part of the soul, most related to making judgments. The conscious resides in the mind, and the mind is the one designed to store God's law and apply them with wisdom to make judgments. People who fall into alcoholism, which is a Canaanite spirit, generally start drinking through someone or something convincing them that heavy drinking is normal and being done by everyone else. Once the person's judgment against heavy drinking has been shut off, the person starts to drink, and soon the alcohol shuts off all sober judgment, and the person goes into a strong and public display of emotions. Canaanite spirits are often of cardinal excess in dissolution. I believe we're on the fifth, which is parasite, meaning belonging to a village. Villages have a smallness. People who grow up in villages are exposed to very limited opportunities for growth. Educational, cultural, and entertainment opportunities are scarce. If not careful, people who grow up in villages can develop a very limited vision of life. Dreams are easily spawned in an environment that stimulates people with options and opportunities. Since these are limited in a village, villages are likely not to dream of great things, and the few who do dream of making it out of the village in order to succeed in the big cities. Since villages impart a sense of smallness, villagers tend to see themselves as small and insignificant people who are a small part of a small and insignificant community. People trapped by the Parasite spirit therefore sees themselves as people with little potential whose only task in life is to live a quiet biological existence and to stay out of the way the people who really are important in this world. Parasites not only believe in their own smallness, but also believe in the smallness of the villagers around them, including their children. The parasite spirit therefore can lead to many generations of spiritual stagnation. Since stagnation always leads to poverty, parasite spirits tend to produce many generations of spiritual poverty. Now, the sixth one is Hivite, meaning villagers. Remember that parasite, meaning belonging to a village, which is very similar to the meaning of Hivite. This implies that many of the things we said about the parasite also applies to the Hivites. And as we said, the parasite villages have a connection of limited vision, implying that Hivites also have a limited vision of life. What makes them different, however, is the way in which people under the influence of the Hivite spirits limit their life. Since the word Hivite is related to the concept of life in Hebrew, we can infer that the Hivites' vision of life is not the one of limitation, poverty, and self-decapitation, as the case of the parasites. On contrary, Hivites love to live it up. They turn into people with few ambitions in life. All they want to do is travel around the world and have a good time. Some of you might be noticing that the Hivite spirit is, therefore, very common in people who have retired. Some people are prone to believe that they have nothing else to do in life but relax and enjoy the wealth they have accumulated during their lives. The seventh was Jebusite, meaning thresher, which refers to the agricultural activity of beating grain out of the husk. This was usually done through animals such as oxen, who were used to thread on the grain that was laid over a threshing floor. From this, we can infer that Jebusite spirits, being threshers, are spirits that thread or stomp on other people. People whose hearts are infected by Jebusite spirits tend to be people who do not hesitate to put down and humiliate others. By stomping on people, Jebusites make a concerted effort to prevent them from growing taller. They like to make people feel small and deliberately put them down anytime they see these small people trying to establish their authority. Jebusites believe that certain people are inherently inferior, without a right to manifest any kind of authority. According to Jebusites, small people should just shut up and concede, because they are nobodies who will never amount to much. As some of you might already be thinking, the spirit of racism is a Jebusite spirit. Jebusites are forces of social castles. The Jebusite spirit is still swarming the church like a bad fly infestation, but not in the previous logistic strain. It now takes a suppler, less conspicuous form. Now, what is the best defense against evil spirits? The evil spirit that wishes to control another must do so through fear. Fear is the key to the car. Without fear, the controlling ghost is unable to grasp the mind of another through negative thoughts. Well, how do you get rid of evil spirits? Evil spirits are simply disembodied, lost human beings. People who are emotionally hurting deep inside. The best way to get rid of them is to help them. All people need to know is that they are forgiven and loved, and that they have a value and they can soar to great heights during their journey through life. Life never ends. So ghosts need to understand that their friends, family, and other loved ones await them in spirit, and that they will be forgiven. There is no external punishment. Hell, in short, replaced fear with love in the soul of any person who can restore from darkness to light. There are many reasons that someone's home may experience a paranormal entity. There may be residual energy left from a previous resident or event. There may be an intelligent spirit who choose not to move on, or a trap because of an anchor holding them to this realm. The toughest entity to remove is an entity that is attracted to a person's negative energy and feeds off of it. Now, there are a number of different scenarios in how a location can become infested with negative entities, such as a malevolent spirit or worse, a negative non-human entity, including demons. They can be invited, unintentionally or intentionally, through the use of divination practices such as Ouija boards or even amateur EVP sessions. These entities can be unintentionally invited into a location. They can sense that someone is willing to communicate with the spirit world, and that opening to invade your space. Even attempts by a previous resident can cause problems for you. Locations in which were even darker intentions, rituals, where evil has been invited in, is especially problematic for many years. pool of negative energy. If a location has a history in which they were strong emotions in the past, the location can be ripe for negative entities. It can range from former prisons to as common as a house where one member lived with a mental illness or debilitating progressive disease such as Alzheimer's or dementia. Attracted to the environment. This is the most common scenario and one in which we deal with more often. Negative entities are attracted to a particular location due to the energy available for them. They find a suitable habitat and they thrive off that environment. They can also cause some havoc just to increase the emotion which feeds them. Attracted to an individual. Inhuman entities can target an individual if they sense one's psyche is not strong enough to fend off attacks. Now, what are they attracted to? Raw human emotion. They thrive off any negative energy from us. It can be as major as bitterness and anger over being a victim of heinous crime, to trivial things such as stress or commute. They feed off the negative energy and they thrive under the circumstances. They can then exacerbate the situation, thus creating more negative energy to feed off of. Some people can even have repressed memories, created issues with nasty entities, as subconscious feeling can provide fuel. Some negative emotions that provide fuel include anger, bitterness, fear, frustration, guilt, jealousy, regret, self-doubt, and sorrow. Any negative emotion will do. Some actions can provide energy such as yelling, fighting, arguments, rebelling, stress from our jobs, our marriages, our relationships, financial or health concerns are especially attractive to negative entities. They want you to be miserable. They want you to doubt yourself. They want your energy so that they can thrive, and they will use that energy against you so they can gain more energy. Most ghosts are not negative or ill-willed, though entities with not so good intentions do exist. Though listening to personal experiences from those who have been attacked or bothered by negative entities, we have taken note of similarities and wish to share what I know, and as well of what we are doing out in the field during investigations. What I mean by negative entity is a spirit that is not nice to people. In the paranormal world, many ghost investigators are too quick to assume that a negative spirit is a demon. During our investigations, we have found that such spirits are simply human, earthbound spirits, typically manifesting as shadow ghosts or dark shadows. When we use the term dark shadows to describe negative entities, because their inner condition often matches their outer appearance, though their shape may differ from one account to another, most typically shadows that move are human in shape, but can change to become larger, smaller, or even to be seen as an enormous blob. Still, no matter the shape, I am finding such negative entities to be ill-willed human spirits. Negative entities seem to be able to change their shape, size, as well as appearance. Occasionally, some witnesses negative shadow ghosts that have red eyes, sometimes witness describing seeing a dark human form morph into a frightening horned entity, demon-like, or having a skull-looking face. Shadow ghosts that appear to be demonic have also been seen making their presence very large to appear more menacing, maybe floating in the air or on the ceiling. When we hear these accounts and apply them to personal investigative experiences, we are finding that negative human spirits seem to have a better grasp of who they are and what they are doing. In other words, these ghosts know that earthbound spirits understand enough to be able to alter their appearance, and at times they purposely seek out those in flesh to taunt, torment, abuse, attach to, or influence. It would seem that the more they haunt their fearful victims, the more they are able to become adept through practice as doing such things. In dealing with negative entities, it is most important to understand that they are simply spirits of humans with bad dispositions and possibly ill intentions. They are not demons, devils, and are like. The source of any negative entity power is through invoking fear into their victims. If successful, fear will allow a negative entity to gain control over the mind of that person whom they seek to attach or influence. Unfortunately, most people fear what they do not understand, so it is easy for a negative ghost to find fearful victims. Yet, We have had a success conducting spirit rescue through working to make negative ghosts understand that there's hope. If we were to look at human beings in general, we should understand that people who attack others do so to low self-esteem. Attack is rooted in fear and is a way to seemingly elevate one's position of standing within their own mind. Spirit rescue is about helping a hurting person on the other side, no matter how detestable they may seem to us. All people deep inside want to be loved, not hurting or lacking, and wish to be accepted by others, for we are social creatures. We have found that a majority of people who have remained here as earthbound spirits are afraid of what they do not understand, especially what happens next in their life journey. Ghosts find themselves comfortable with the earthly plane, yet by remaining behind, and are focused on the past, though seemingly interacting in the present. Explain to negative entities or any ghost that they are staying here, they are missing loved ones who want to be with them, and they are needlessly suffer by not having inner peace achieved by letting go of the past. This is the key to rescuing spirits successfully. If you have a ghost in your presence or place of business, why not try downloading, this, taking some notes, and play it for the spirit. Perhaps the entity will find the information helpful and may choose to move on. Remember, most ghosts, including dark shadows, do have bad intentions, but all ghosts need to be understood as being human spirits who are lost and in need of getting home. Helping the lost is what we should be seeking to do. Some spirits may not be willing to receive assistance, but we have nothing to lose in trying to heal every broken soul. Now, that is the end of our show. I do hope you enjoyed it. This is Beyond the Grave Radio with Haunted Salem on the Paranormal King Radio Network. We'd like to thank Ross Raposo and everyone in chat, as well as all you listeners out there. Really appreciate it. But don't forget to check out my website at www.mysteriesofhauntedsalem.com. It's an ongoing site always, and it always has new articles and information added, so always make sure that you check back with that. I wish you all a great night, and we will see you next week with all